In the neon-lit city of Nizhnograd, Anya battles her inner demons of insecurity and societal pressure, seeking self-acceptance and true happiness. As she grapples with her past and relationships, a journey unfolds to uncover her authentic self. In a world obsessed with appearances, can Anya defy the expectations that bind her, or will she succumb to them forever? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. In the ever-bright city of Nizhnograd, where neon lights cast a kaleidoscope of colors across rain-slicked streets, pulses of life seemed to vibrate through the air. Amidst this pulsating environment, Anya drifted through her days in a haze of pastel flour and sugar. Her hands, skilled in the art of pastry making, crafted intricate confections that drew customers in like moths to a flame. Each morning, the cheerful bells above the door chimed with the arrival of familiar faces, yet behind her radiant smile hid a tumultuous sea of self-doubt and turmoil. Anya was a petite woman with shoulder-length chestnut hair that glimmered like polished wood under the bakery's soft lights. Her hazel eyes, deep and expressive, often betrayed her struggles, reflecting a tempest of emotions that raged silently beneath the surface. She exuded a warmth that enveloped those around her, but in the mirror, she saw only her perceived flaws, the soft curves she longed to reshape into the angular definitions she associated with beauty. Zdenek, her boyfriend, was the embodiment of a perfect figure in her eyes. Towering and muscular, with a jawline so sharp it could have been chiseled from stone, he was a dedicated bodybuilder whose daily rituals consisted of an unwavering diet of protein, strict workouts, and a following of admirers. His presence brought Anya comfort and a sense of belonging, yet it was a double-edged sword. The contrast between their physiques created fissures in her self-esteem, causing her radiant spirit to flicker like a dying flame in a raging storm. The bakery, with its walls adorned in cheerful florals and the sweet scent of vanilla wafting through the air, became her refuge and her prison all at once. Here, she was queen of sweets, the talented baker capable of crafting sugar-spun dreams, a title that shimmered beneath the veneer of her unfulfilled desires. However, the more she witnessed bodies defined and polished around her, the heavier the weight of societal expectations pressed upon her shoulders. She baked to soothe the pain, frosting details on intricate cakes while internally battling the remnants of her own insecurities. As she prepared for the upcoming extravagant wedding, pressure mounted. Anya found herself layering fondant on a three-tiered cake, each fondant ribbon a silent plea for acceptance and love. What should have been a joyous occasion felt tainted by her thoughts. Even her reflection in the polished kitchen surfaces seemed to mock her. "Nothing in my closet fits," she sighed, feeling as fragile as the delicate pastries she crafted. Anya's struggles were not solely external, they burrowed deep into her psyche. Whispers reached her ears as she navigated her neighborhood, where judgment disguised as friendly smiles infiltrated her world like a thief in the night. Gossip filled the air, compelling her to second-guess her every move, each prying gaze dissecting her like a specimen under a microscope. As she learned to feign happiness, her true self began to fade, a ghost haunting the corners of her mind. Would the world ever look beyond her outer shell to see the vibrant spirit yearning to break free? Her surroundings, filled with lush greenery and picturesque parks, contrasted sharply with the bleakness snowballing in her heart. Days turned into nights in a blur of frosting and failure as she suffocated under the garish realities of her self-imposed confinement. The laughter and chatter of her coworkers ringing in her ears echoed a stark reminder of what felt unattainable, a lightness, a joy that seemed forever forged for those who fit the mold of societal beauty. Breathing heavily amidst the whirlwind of self-criticism, Anya longed for the courage to tear down the walls she had built around herself. And yet there stood Zhenik, oblivious to the tempest within her. His charismatic presence could light up a room, and his laughter made her heart skip a beat, capturing moments that felt fleeting. They would go for long walks under the luminous glow of Nizhnograd's skyline, where the air hummed with potential and promise. Yet Anya felt fractured. She watched as he flexed his muscles with pride while she silently battled her shadows. As they strolled, the enchantment of the moment dulled like the fading twilight, for every shared smile at passers-by felt like a nail sealing her prison. The bakery, a haven overflowing with delightful aromas, transformed into a fortress filled with hidden fears. Burdened with the wants of society, the certain weight she associated with love seemed tightly knit to appearance. Sweetmeats and pastries turned stifling, their decadence contrasting sharply against her growing discontent. With every luscious creation crafted, she felt a visceral disconnect, a journey into a realm where acceptance twisted seamlessly into a longing for validation. No longer was it just about the pastries, it became an emblem, a representation of worth. Would Zhenik remain beside her if the curve of her waist escaped the shape she deemed worthy of love? Would he still admire the vibrant confections she poured her soul into if she failed to mirror that radiance herself? The questions gnawed at her, insatiable and unwelcome, as she moonlighted her dreams amid the pastry racks. He engaged in their rituals with joy, displaying a twinkle in his eye. Yet Anya grew increasingly haunted by feelings of inadequacy. Today, tomorrow, every day pulsed with the same question. Why couldn't she be content in her own skin? She wrestled with its forces, societal norms contrasting mouth-watering sweets, the friendships that frayed under the strain of jealously guarded comparisons. Anya felt like a question mark, always seeking but never finding, until eventually she set aside her apron. Each stitch meticulously stitched gathered dust, emotions and fears realized. To compound her plight, the community buzzed with excitement over the upcoming wedding of a local couple, an event that would spotlight the beauty that Anya so desperately sought. The bride, with golden hair and flawless skin, was the embodiment of perfection. This was an ethereal celebration of love, yet all Anya could see was a reflection of her own shortcomings. Each invitation that fluttered through her door only deepened her internal crisis. She found herself lost in a cyclical race of despair. Dismissing the sound of swirling laughter and celebration around her, she retreated further into her cocoon, feeling as if the world cast her in shadow. As the wedding drew nearer, heartache painted her reality, a stark contrast to the joyful scenes she crafted daily. The self-doubt matured into a formidable adversary, whispering to her in the dark whilst she lay awake, walking that thin line between aspiration and acceptance. Caught in a struggle that mounted to a climactic peak, the joy of seeing her neighbor's life burgeoned staleness in her own. She knew she was more than just the baker. The air in Nizhnograd felt thick with anticipation as Anya scrolled through her social media feed, oblivious to the underlying currents of anxiety swelling within her. The bright hues of the cityscape painted a stark contrast to the darkness clouding her heart. As she sat at the kitchen table, her fingers danced over the screen, searching for a distraction, but the universe had other plans. In her moment of mindless scrolling, her gaze fell upon the picture that would dismantle her world, a snapshot of Zhenik, his laughter illuminating the frame, dancing effortlessly with another woman whose elegance seemed to snare the very essence of everything Anya believed she was not. The photograph captured a fleeting moment that felt like a dagger to her chest. Zhenik's eyes sparkled with a joy that was suddenly distant from Anya's own reality. The woman in the picture was enchanting, long, flowing hair adorned with delicate flowers reflecting the vibrancy of a world untouched by the weight of doubt. Anya's heart sank further as she watched her world begin to splinter. Each second stretched like an eternity as waves of jealousy crashed upon her, one after another, sweeping away the remnants of the identity she thought she had constructed. The waves turned into a vicious tide. In a tumultuous storm of emotion, Anya confronted Zhenik, desperation lacing her words like poison. His reaction was not what she'd expected. The facade of their life together cracked open, revealing an unsettling truth. His admission that his love had begun to fade sent ripples through her very core. It was as if the earth beneath her shifted, leaving her dangling in a void, devoid of answers and clarity. Wounded and lost, Anya sought refuge in her mother's home. The familiarity of the setting was bittersweet. Memories danced within the softly lit family kitchen, yet the warmth felt somehow hollow. Her mother's silence enveloped her like a heavy fog, pressing down on Anya's fragile state. Shadows from her past loomed large, her childhood insecurities, the constant need for approval, the echoes of past failures. Each recollection twisted itself around her heart, gnawing at her spirit with relentless persistence. The nights blurred into a haze of anguish where tears mingled with hopeless self-reflection. Yet, amidst the shadows, a spark flickered in the depths of her despair. Power began to emerge from the rubble as Anya contemplated, in solitude, the nature of her identity. Was it truly interwoven with her relationship with Zhenik? The question gnawed at her, pulling her deeper into a chasm of introspection. Contemplating what lay ahead, she recognized a crucial realization. The journey to reclaim her identity must begin here, in the remnants of her heartache. This was no longer just about Zhenik. It was about rediscovering who she was beneath the layers of societal expectations and external validation that had shaped her existence. Motivated by dawning awareness, Anya decided to confront her fears head-on. She began to explore aspects of herself hitherto suppressed, going back to her roots, rediscovering her passions. She dusted off her art supplies haphazardly hidden in the attic, drawing out a universe onto blank canvases. Each stroke of her brush began transforming chaotic emotion into vivid colors and shapes, a cathartic release that reignited a glow within her. In the quiet moments, her brushes danced with a vigor reminiscent of her youthful spirit, colors swirling like the echoes of her laughter once lost. The act of creation became both a refuge and a revolution, enabling her to articulate feelings she had failed to voice. Yet, another battle brewed within. Was this resurgence mere escapism, or could it be the foundation of something authentically her? Navigating through artistic expression, Anya found herself questioning the depth of her convictions concerning beauty and self-worth. The societal standards that had painted her existence began to unravel, exposing the deceptive nature of validation derived from physical appearances. Was it ethical to measure her self-esteem against distorted reflections? In an otherworldly, raw confrontation with herself, Anya's mind danced between the dualities of acceptance and rebellion. Standing in front of the mirror, she observed the woman staring back, this complicated being of shadows and light. She grappled with the notion that a person could simultaneously harbor flaws and radiate beauty. This realization propelled her deeper into the heart of introspection. The chasm of emotional turmoil remained vast, but for the first time, its borders aligned with potential rather than despair. As she continued to immerse herself in creativity, Anya became determined to carve out a space where individuality trumped external judgments. She ventured into the local gallery, where artists from diverse backgrounds showcased their work. The vibrant atmosphere brimmed with tales of struggle and triumph. Each exhibit pulsed with energy, mirroring her own endeavor toward authenticity. Here, she understood the intricacies of human experience, unveiled through art. Yet, an unease settled upon her heart when she noticed the contrast between her aspirations and the looming shadow of her former self. Cautiously, Anya began to share her work, each piece resonating with her journey. As she stepped onto the gallery stage for her first exhibition, surrounded by eager spectators, the weight of vulnerability pressed upon her. This was not merely about showcasing refined pieces. It was about presenting her emotional wounds and triumphs wrapped in strokes of color. Would they understand? Would her truth translate? The hours seemed to elongate as the night unfolded, revealing smiles, nods, and whispers among attendees admiring her delicate work. With each passing moment, Anya felt her heart race, not from fear of judgment, but from the glimmers of acceptance that warmed her spirit. Was this what it felt like to be seen beyond the veil of doubt? As she mingled with fellow artists and attendees, Anya bonded with Laura, an enigmatic sculptor with metallic strands woven through her vibrant blue hair, resembling the celestial bodies in the night sky. Laura had etched her own story onto every piece of metal, channeling struggles for belonging into captivating shapes that defied gravity. Her eyes, kaleidoscopes of emotion, flickered with understanding as they discussed the concept of beauty, how it transcended flesh and bones, morphing into resilience and individuality. The warmth radiating from these exchanges created an oasis in Anya's soul. Each conversation sowed the seeds of self-acceptance deeper into her heart. Through the chaos of emotions, her resolve grew stronger. Could this newfound connection be the scaffolding for a tomorrow infused with clarity? Late into the night, amidst scattered applause and laughter, Anya felt invigorated but uncertain. Conversation flickered back to Zhenik, the lost love that had catalyzed this transformation. Anya's heart raced as she entered the dimly lit community center, where the echoes of laughter and encouragement filled the air. The vibrant mural on the far wall depicted a phoenix, soaring high above a city skyline, symbolizing resilience and rebirth. This artistic homage to transformation resonated deep within her as she took a deep breath, feeling lighter amidst the shared struggle of others. The room was a melting pot of emotions, energy, and determination. Alongside the thumping beats of energizing music, sweaty bodies were engaged in workouts, each person enshrined in their pursuit of self-acceptance and healing. The diversity struck Anya profoundly. Here were beings from different walks of life, all converging with one common goal: a path towards reclaiming their identities. Each face told a story, laden with the weight of unspoken battles waged against their insecurities. Kolv caught her eye from across the room, his blonde hair glistening with beads of sweat. He was effortlessly energetic, guiding a few newcomers through the steps of a high-intensity workout. He exuded an energy that felt magnetic, a combination of compassion and strength that made others gravitate toward him. Anya felt fortunate to have found a friend in this community and an ally in Kolv. As their sessions progressed, Kolv's influence on Anya began to unfold layers she had been unaware of. His presence ignited in her an unquenchable desire to explore the depths of her own capabilities. Kolv was not merely a workout buddy. He was a mentor who instilled a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they traversed the nuances of physical fitness and emotional vulnerability, each grueling session unveiling another truth hidden beneath the armor she'd silently constructed. Yet, as the physical strength within her began to blossom, Anya found herself grappling with the shadows of her past. Each drop of sweat seemed to evoke the names of those individuals who had contributed to her insecurities. How, she wondered, could one grow emotionally while simultaneously wrestling with remnants of self-doubt? The very act of facing her traumas felt akin to running a marathon, where every step forward was overshadowed by an unseen force pulling her back. In the mirror of the workout studio, she saw her reflection, a stranger clad in gym clothes she never thought she could wear. The visible changes in her physique began to scream louder than her internal thoughts. Still, self-doubt whispered far too often. The haunting memories of Zhenek's cruel comparisons and her own guilt intensified with every passing session. Doubts floated ominously in her mind. Was she truly worthy of this journey? Was the transformation she sought merely a facade? Kolv, perceptive as ever, seemed to sense the inner turmoil that brewed beneath Anya's surface. He had his ways of bringing out her hidden strength, whether through casual conversations, or the way he shared his own struggles with body image and acceptance. He spoke candidly about the challenges he faced, revealing a vulnerability that mirrored Anya's experience, yet was steeped in resilience. There was a profound beauty in his journey too. He was a survivor of emotional turbulence, a beacon illuminating the path for others. On an unusually warm Friday evening, Kolv introduced Anya to a unique fitness ritual that their community practiced, the Dance of Shadows. As anticipation filled the air, Anya watched in awe as participants began to lose themselves in the amalgamation of music, movement, and heartfelt expression. Everyone, unbound by judgment, allowed their inner selves to transcend the physical realm, merging dance with the catharsis of emotional release. Anya stood in the background, hesitant as she felt the pulse of her rhythm conflicting with the shadows of shame that loomed within. The vibrant reflections of colorful clothes danced across the mirrored walls, casting their implications onto her skin. Kolv, sensing her trepidation, motioned for her to join him. Together they stepped into the metaphorical spotlight, encapsulated in a swirl of movement and euphoria. As the music enveloped her, Anya began to feel alive in ways she never thought possible. With every movement, she shed layers of self-doubt, her fluidity capturing the essence of the phoenix on the mural, a strong embrace of transformation and power. In that moment, she became part of something larger, a wave of collective struggles and victories. The room felt alive, imbued with mutual support and understanding, the kind that transcended mere words. However, as Anya danced, flashes of Zhenek's face invaded her newfound moment of euphoria. With every elegant twirl, she felt the weight of the past battling with the liberating energy of the present. Was this the closure she longed for, or merely a distraction from the unresolved storm within? The evening drew to a close, and weary but exhilarated, the group gathered to reflect on the significance of their journey. In sharing their tales, Anya realized that vulnerability could be both chaotic and illuminating. It had the capacity to unite or divide, depending on how one chose to embrace it. The realization weighed heavily on her. Was her voyage driven by a true desire for self-love or merely a revolt against her earlier perception of worth? That night, newfound doubts seethed. While she had glimpsed a sense of empowerment, the haunting echoes of past failures persisted. Anya's enchanting evening was tainted by uncertainty, as Kolv's support slowly morphed into a silent reminder of the very pressures she sought to escape. Staring out of her window at the twinkling lights of Nizhnograd, a mixture of excitement and fear began to blossom within her. Would she be able to rise from the ashes of her past and embrace the strength she unearthed? More importantly, could she acknowledge the complicated web woven by societal expectations and her pursuit of validation through others? The cacophony in her heart swelled as the night deepened, the cries of self-doubt marching resolutely alongside an unwavering desire to reclaim her narrative. The atmosphere crackled with both tension and possibility. But the answers felt elusive, mirroring the chaotic pulsations of Nizhnograd. None of it would resolve neatly, nor would her struggle fit into a tidy conclusion. The looming query remained. How long could she stand teetering on the edge of self-discovery before facing the abyss of her past? As dawn crept upon the horizon, Anya resolved to venture into the unknown of her heart, unaware of the storm awaiting her just beyond the sunrise. an outcome that would shift her reality once again. The emotional tide surged within Anya as the local pool shimmered under the bright, artificial lights of Nizhnograd. The air hummed with the sounds of laughter and splashes, but for Anya, the world around her faded into a dull murmur. Her heart thundered in her chest as she caught sight of Zhenik lounging casually by the edge, his form radiating confidence and ease. A luxurious escape with the stunning Alva, a radiant woman with an effortless charm that seemed to ensnare the attention of all present. In that moment, Anya felt the hot sting of betrayal wash over her, emotions cascading like chaotic waves crashing against jagged rocks. The sight of them together sparked something dark within Anya, betrayal intertwined with the suffocating shroud of inadequacy. It was more than just envy, it was a visceral reminder of her own struggles, her own invisible battles. The laughter shared between Zhenik and Alva mocked her pain, a cruel reminder of a love that had once felt expansive and all-consuming. Kolv, standing at her side, sensed the turmoil churning in her breast. His brow furrowed in concern, contrasting his usually serene demeanor. The calming presence of the man who had been her anchor was a lifeline in the chaotic storm, offering a sense of stability against the tidal wave of emotions threatening to pull her under. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder, reassuring her that she was not alone in this confrontation. "You are stronger than this," he said softly, though his words were swept away by the cacophony of voices. Still, the sentiment lingered, coiling around her like a protective embrace as she drew a deep breath, summoning the courage that had been ignited within her since they had started their journey together. But the moment crystallized as the sun dipped lower, casting an orange haze over the pool. Anya could feel the simmering anger blending with moments of deep sadness, a cocktail of emotions that would no longer remain bottled inside her. Perhaps it was time for confrontation, a stirring of the heart that would lead her to clarity and catharsis. Clenching her fists, she stepped forward, the cool tiles beneath her feet grounding her in purpose. Anya approached, each step charged with trepidation and determination alike. The air shimmered with tension as Zhenik looked up, amusement dancing in his eyes, which quickly morphed into surprise as he caught sight of her grim expression. A flicker of something dark crossed his face, an acknowledgement of the past he had tried to escape. "Anya," he began, though she cut him off. "Can we talk?" Her voice was steady, though racked with underlying emotion. Seeing him now, relaxed and happy with another, poured salt in the wounds she thought had begun to heal. The two moved to a secluded area by the pool, the blissful sounds of summer fading into the background. Kolv stepped back, giving Anya room to breathe, to face whatever storm lay ahead. She silently respected the space he created, cherishing the friendship and understanding they had cultivated. "What's there to talk about?" Zhenik's casual tone stung. The underlying arrogance felt like a slap against the vulnerability Anya had been nurturing. "You decided to move on. I thought you were happy." "Happy? You think I was happy while you flaunt your new relationship?" Anya's voice broke slightly, a combination of hurt and indignation bubbling to the surface. "You have no idea what you've lost, or what I have lost." Zhenik's brow furrowed. "I didn't want to hurt you, but things just change." "What did you expect? You were always so focused on yourself." A fresh wave of anger flooded Anya's veins. Each word felt like another weight around her heart. "I always wanted to be enough for you, but you made me feel like I was drowning." She gestured toward Alva, who was floating lazily in the water, as if participating in a mundane game of leisure while Anya struggled with the depths of reality. "You moved on so quickly? Did it even mean anything to you?" Zhenik turned away, the shadows of regret etching deeper lines into his features. "I didn't want to be a burden on you any longer. I thought you'd find someone who appreciates you for who you are." His words resonated with an undeniable truth, igniting a fire in Anya. Finding someone isn't enough if I don't even know who I am. In that moment, a revelation struck her like a comet. This confrontation wasn't merely about Zhenik or Alva. It was the confrontation of herself, her identity woven into the tapestry of loyalty, love, and expectation. Silence fell, punctuated only by the splashes of water and distant laughter. Glancing up, Anya saw the flickering lights of attractions lining the far end of the pool. The vibrant colors beckoned, infusing the night with a sense of mystique, a world full of possibilities and uncertainties. Perhaps I did lose my way with you, she continued, her voice softer now, stripped of the bite. But that doesn't mean I've given up on myself. The clarity descended like a sudden storm, washing over her doubts and fears. You were a part of my life, Zhenik, but I refuse to be defined by your love or rejection. I have to find my own way, despite how much I might miss what we had. Anya, Zhenik began, but her heart was no longer frail. It was made of iron tempered by pain, ready to forge ahead into unexplored territories. I refuse to seek validation from you anymore, she insisted. The words spilled from her lips like the water cascading over the pool's edges, cleansing her of the past. I need to discover my worth, free from the shadows of your expectations. I may have loved you, but I also lost myself in that love. Zhenik opened his mouth to protest, yet the silence that ensued suggested he sensed a shift in their dynamics, one that could not be ignored. The battle between them had transformed into a confrontation within herself, as Anya stood firmly at the precipice of newfound self-acceptance. With renewed conviction, she turned away. Kolv was still there, patiently waiting, his reassuring presence like a lighthouse guiding her home. As she walked towards him, every step felt lighter, as if the burdens of her insecurities were shedding from her skin. Yet, Anya's heart raced with unresolved questions, shadows lurking beneath a surface she once deemed stable. What would this newfound strength mean for her? Would it push them apart or weave them closer together? An unsettling uncertainty remained, a haunting whisper of the unknown, echoing in the back of her mind. In the aftermath of confrontation, Anya found herself standing at a pivotal crossroads of her emotional journey. The burden of her insecurities began to lift, like morning fog dissipating under the first warm rays of sunlight. Each breath she took felt like an act of rebellion against the disquiet that had once consumed her. The sceneries of Nizhnograd, which had long been a backdrop to her turmoil, now unfolded with vibrant hues, revealing an exciting kaleidoscope of possibilities. A deeply knit relationship with her estranged father had sparked a renewal in her spirit. As they sat together in the flickering glow of candlelight, the weight of unspoken words began to dissolve like sugar in warm water. Her father shared stories from his youth, tales of struggles, failures, and triumphs. The connection formed felt ethereal, almost healing, as Anya related his life experiences to her own. His struggles mirrored her own in many ways, evoking emotions that had long been buried beneath layers of resentment and misunderstanding. Every imperfection tells a story, he told her softly, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Each scar, whether on the skin or on the soul, shapes us into who we are meant to be. This led to Anya realizing that these very imperfections were threads weaving the tapestry of her identity. The room resonated with warmth, binding the present to the past and painting a future rich with potential. Fueled by her father's newfound presence and the recollections that raced through her mind, Anya's resolve strengthened. Memories of past failures no longer shackled her. Instead, they forged the foundation upon which she would build her true self. To reject the suffocating standards imposed by society, she took to exploring her identity beyond appearances, realizing that the essence of who she was reached far deeper than the skin she inhabited. Instead of turning to mirrors for affirmation, she sought reflections in kindness, creativity, and ambition. Anya dedicated herself to pursuits that brought her joy, painting abstract art that captured her emotional landscape, embarking on culinary journeys that transformed her love for pastries into culinary masterpieces, and engaging in yoga. Each pose a celebration of her body's capabilities, not its limitations. Under the vibrant glow of neon lights in the bustling corners of Nizhnograd, Anya began to carve an identity adorned with authenticity rather than conformity. The playful laughter that once ached to escape her lips poured forth, blending harmoniously with the sounds of the city around her. Hidden talents flourished, woven into the fabric of her daily existence. Her paintings adorned the walls of local galleries, their expressions invoking emotions and thoughts she had once kept buried. Kolv remained a steadfast presence, encouraging her to explore new horizons. They ventured beyond Nizhnograd at times, seeking adventure in neighboring districts. Each trip forged memories, shifting Anya's perspective on life's journey. She could feel her confidence building with each passing day, the chains of her past slowly disintegrating into the ether. Kolv had nurtured a sanctuary for her heart and soul, a space where she felt safe to explore who she was without judgment. Through her metamorphosis, Anya became not just a participant in her own life but also an inspiring beacon for others navigating similar terrains. She began hosting community workshops focused on creativity, emotional wellness, and self-acceptance. Other young women, resonating with her story, gathered to share, create, and heal together. They formed an unbreakable bond, a sisterhood vibrant with shared struggles and collective joy. In this coalition, they found strength, proof that vulnerability need not equate to weakness. Yet, with each step toward self-acceptance, the haunting specter of Zhenik occasionally flickered at the edges of her mind. It posed questions with chilling clarity. Was her growth part of a sincere transformation, or merely a reaction to a painful end? But as waves upon a shore recede and reveal hidden treasures underneath, so did these thoughts retreat. Anya recognized that dwelling on past relationships could no longer curb her journey. They belonged to a time where her self-worth was tied to external validation. A defining moment came during a moonlit festival in Nizhnograd, a celebration filled with life, laughter, and the spirited pulse of the city. As Anya joined the throng, she felt the energy of the crowd coursing through her, a symphony of acceptance that echoed the sentiments she had internalized. A live band played a medley of songs, each note resonating with the emotions she had embraced along her path. Anya found herself dancing among a sea of fellow revelers. Under the starlit sky, strands of her fears entwined with exhilaration, weaving into a testimony of resilience. It was here, amidst the laughter and twirls, that the last remnants of her old self faded into the shadows. This dance epitomized liberation, a celebration of everything she had fought to become. In the vibrant chaos of the festival, she caught a fleeting glimpse of Zhenik in the distance. The shock surged through her, but instead of succumbing to discomfort, she stood tall. He seemed changed too, perhaps a reminder of how all battles shape the fighters. Yet Anya felt no impulse to confront him or reminisce on their past. She was, indeed, an embodiment of triumph. The essence of her joy wasn't swayed by his presence, it was anchored in the realization that she had reclaimed her narrative. As dawn kissed the horizon, painting it with colors of hope, Anya made her way home. The sense of accomplishment enveloped her, resonating in her heart. Yet the soft whispers of her past reminded her that although she had embraced her true self, the concept of beauty would always be fluid. It would dance and evolve, just as she had, transcending mere physical forms to embody stories of struggle, resilience, and love. The gentle silence wrapped around her against the backdrop of the waking city. Anya's path was no longer shrouded in fear. It had blossomed into a landscape rich with potential. She understood now that her journey was a collective experience, a mirror reflecting the struggles of many who sought acceptance, not just within their own skin but in their souls, in their stories. With a heart full of hope, Anya took a deep breath, savoring the fleeting moment of peace within the chaos of life's unpredictability. As she stepped forward, the lingering question remained. In an ever-evolving universe, would others be inspired to confront their insecurities and question conformist norms, learning that true beauty radiates from a place of inner strength and unconditional self-love? The story teetered on the edge of an infinite horizon, filled with possibilities just waiting to be explored. In this moment, intertwined with the heartbeat of Nizhnograd, there was clarity. True transformation begins not with appearances but with the courage to embrace one's true self and the resilience it takes to navigate the journey of life. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.